So guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are staying safe. I want to do this video. I got asked on Instagram. Over the years, over my lifespan on YouTube, people have always asked me about Amir and Manny Pacquiao, because I do quite a few videos about these guys. And one guy asked me on my Instagram page. If you haven't followed my Instagram page, go follow it on Amir TV. Asked me about that you seem quite biased towards Khan and Pacquiao. Not like he said he likes my content and likes watching my videos, but he says why you come across sometimes when you're talking about these guys, you can be quite biased and you're always bigging these two guys up. I'll tell you why that I may come across like that. Both those two guys are the first two guys that got me into boxing. Amir Khan was obviously, I had an emotional attachment because, I'm British Pakistani, he's British Pakistani. Manny Pacquiao was at the elite level, right? Obviously, Khan, when he first started, wasn't, his pro career wasn't anywhere near elite level. He was working his way up, the hot prospect. But Manny Pacquiao was at the top of the pack, and I hadn't seen anything like it. Like, for me, Manny Pacquiao was like just unbelievable. He was bashing guys up. He was looking so good. And you know what? Both about Khan and Pacquiao. Obviously, Pacquiao's a legend and Khan was a very good fighter. But Pacquiao's an all-time great. In my opinion, probably top 5 best fighter of all time. Whenever you used to see these two fight, it used to you get that tingling in your spine. You get like shivers down your neck because they were that exciting. The speed, the explosiveness that both of them had. Khan didn't have the power of a Pacquiao, but both of them, I just used to love watching their fights. I don't know, and it's not even the fact that, people say with Khan he's very exciting, but because he's vulnerable, he's chinny and stuff like that. It's not that. It's the fact that I just found their offensive, I found their attack so exciting to watch. Maybe other people may not see it the same way, but for me personally, I just used to love watching them guys, especially when they were on the attack. How aggressive they were, how fast they were, the speed, the movement. I just found that really great, compelling viewing. All their fights were very exciting. You never got a dull very unlikely got a dull Amir Khan or a Manny Pacquiao fight. I remember I never missed one of these two guys' fights. Honestly, I never ever missed one. Even though both of them were fighting in America and they were 4 o'clock in the morning. I don't think, since I got into boxing, I don't think I missed any Manny Pacquiao fight. I watched every single one. Every single one. Khan's every single one as well. I remember staying up for a Mayweather fight, right? And I think it was against Maidana the second time. Halfway through it, I fell asleep. I never had that kind of attachment with Mayweather. Even though Mayweather was so brilliant and so good, I didn't find him that exciting. Even in the ring, it wasn't that exciting. It was just the fact that it was a Mayweather event, And Mayweather was the biggest star in the sport. So you would stay up. But I never had that same tingling. It wasn't, when I see Pacquiao and Khan fight, because I'm a massive, massive fan of both guys, I actually get kind of nervous. Because I want to see them win so bad that, I remember when Pacquiao fought Thurman, I was so nervous for Pacquiao because it looked so dangerous, the fact that Thurman was so big and Pacquiao was obviously a lot smaller. He was 41, and I thought this may be dangerous. If Thurman catches him, he could knock him out. Especially the fact that we saw Pacquiao been knocked out by smaller men than Thurman, like Marquez. So I was worried. I was worried in that fight. But, Pacquiao showed the great fighter he is at the age of 41. He still beat Thurman. But every time these two go out to fight, I always get like a nervous, that thing in my belly, like butterflies in my stomach. Which I don't really get for any other fighter, by the way. I don't really have, I think these two are the only two fighters that I've been emotionally attached and a massive fan of, where, if they were to lose, it would be like I couldn't sleep properly. Oh my God, Pacquiao's lost or Khan's lost. it was like that. I only got about these two fighters, and you know what? Both these two's careers now are gonna coming to an end. So if I'm honest with you, I haven't got any in the current fighters. I like Errol Spence. I like Inoue. I'm a big fan of Inoue. Usyk's good. I like a lot of the current fighters, but I don't have an emotional attachment to them. So I enjoy watching the boxing. When I see Khan and Pacquiao fight, I kind of, although it's a big event, I look forward to it. I don't really enjoy it as much, just because of the fact that I'm really nervous, because I want to see those two win so bad. And I've seen, both of them have been knocked out. And I remember the Marquez knockout. That was horrible. And that, like, again, that was one of them where I couldn't go sleep that night when Pacquiao got knocked out. I couldn't sleep for 2 nights, actually. When Khan got knocked out by Canelo, that was exactly the same, even though we were expecting it. And even when Khan fought Crawford, like, that loss was bad. Even Lamont Peterson, Garcia, those losses were like, they were hard to take. Especially the Peterson one was a bit controversial. That was not good, but the Garcia one was like someone, had punched me in the guts. It was really bad loss. And just the excitement that both these two have brought to boxing, to maybe a lot of boxing fans. But to me, like I said, if these two weren't boxing, I don't think I might have not been in this. I might have not even started watching boxing. That's why I can be a bit biased towards Pacquiao and Khan, just because of the fact that I don't think if these two didn't box, maybe I wouldn't be a boxing fan. Their styles, the excitement that they brought in the ring, I just think it was epic. I think the thrills and spills, and I think with Khan even more so, because Pacquiao had a granite chin. So he had, he was a lot more with his style. He was a lot more secure, whereas Khan was a lot more vulnerable than Pacquiao. But Pacquiao, what he's done, 8 division world champion. He's inspired so many people, not just in the Philippines but around the world. And Khan's also inspired a lot of people, British, Asians here in the UK, loads of them, because he was the first really breakout star, to come out of the UK. Really, there wasn't anyone before him. So that's why he became such a big superstar as well, because of the fact that there wasn't really anybody Asian star in any field really in sport. That was and there were, don't get me wrong, there were, but not at his level. Like, he was, he became a massive star in Britain. There wasn't really any other Asian on that kind of level. So he inspired so many people, and so many people probably started believing that they could also get into sports. And now we see a lot of Asians now actually excelling in boxing, and not just boxing but other fields as well. So Pacquiao made his whole country believe. Khan made his community, his community believe that anything is possible. Pacquiao made the whole Filipino country believe. So both these guys have inspired their own people. Pacquiao on a much larger scale. But most importantly, what was special about both these guys was the styles. I think stylistically, the fights that they were involved in, what fights, what great fights. Like Pacquiao Marquez, Pacquiao Morales, Barrera. What a career that guy's had. And he's still going strong. Khan didn't have anywhere near the career of Pacquiao, but nevertheless, his career, thrills and spills, knockout losses, and coming back. And both these two guys, for me, were the most exciting fighters. I think Pacquiao and Khan probably the two most exciting fighters in the last 10 are up there with being the two most exciting fighters of the last 10-15 years, really. Both of them. Not just I know people are going to say, well, oh, Khan's this, Khan's that. But I don't think anyone can doubt that he's one of the most exciting fighters. Not just the fact that he's vulnerable, but the fact that the way he fights, the offensive, aggressive, attacking ability that he has is really fun to watch. Same with Pacquiao. They're really fun to watch. Mayweather was a lot more, he was a lot greater in terms of complete and hard. You know, you couldn't beat him because of his style. But these two were especially Khan to a much larger scale, but Pacquiao was also vulnerable because of his attacking style. Especially late on, there was a period in Pacquiao's career where I just thought he was unbeatable. He was that purple patch where I don't think anyone would have beat him, and that Mayweather included. I don't think anyone would have beaten Manny Pacquiao. But yeah, that's why I'm so attracted and attached to these two, because of the fact that I just think that they've had, you know, both, like, listen, both of them have had great careers. Pacquiao on a much larger scale. Like I said, for me, Pacquiao is in the top five greatest fighters of all time. You know, so he's on another level. But I still feel that both of these guys have, in the last 10-15 years, for me, have been the most exciting fighters out there. They're really exciting to watch. They're compelling viewing, right? And that's what boxing's about, really. You know, boxing's about entertainment, exciting fights. You know, the hardcore boxing fans understand someone like Mayweather, understand how great he is, and understand the things that he can do in the ring. But the casual fans can't relate to him. The casual fans look at Mayweather like he's hugging, he's running around. What's he doing? He's not fighting. The casual fans don't really like that style. Khan, Pacquiao, these guys' styles appealed to the casuals, the hardcores. Everybody loved their style because they were made for compelling viewing. They made for great fights. That's not to say that the other fighters that were more skilled in terms of defensively aren't great, and they're great in their own way. But the reason why these two managed to make such a name for themselves is because the fact they were exciting and people used to love watching them fight. You know, whether you were watching Khan to see him get knocked out, or whether you were seeing Manny Pacquiao to see him destroy someone, at the end of the day, they made for compelling viewing. But yeah, both of these two fighters are my favorite fighters, if I'm honest with you. And just because of the excitement factor. And I think both of them really epitomize what boxing fans want from boxers, right? Most boxing fans don't want to see a guy, you know, like Mayweather outclass somebody, you know, and defensive wizard, not take punches. Most boxing fans want to see a war. Now, that's not necessarily good for the boxer's health, but boxing fans want to see a bloody war. They want to see two guys going in there, smashing each other, punching each other, daylights out of each other. That's what boxing fans want to see. And Mayweather, and, you know, maybe guys like Crawford, for example, Mayweather obviously managed to build a massive name. He promoted himself brilliantly, whereas someone like Crawford maybe is struggling because Crawford, he's not the brash talker that Mayweather was, and his style is also not that fan-friendly. Like, I was speaking to Tony McKenzie, and he said Crawford's a great fighter, but I don't really look at Crawford like I don't really view Crawford like that. You know, like he's a great fighter, but I just don't view him as like a great champion. Maybe because stylistically he's not that appealing. You know, he's not that appealing. He's not that exciting. You know, even though he's a great fighter and he probably beats everybody, you know, beats most people, but he's just not that exciting. Whereas guys like Pacquiao, guys like Khan, and not just these two, there's other fighters as well that, you know, maybe you add someone like Joshua in there, you add someone like Wilder in there, you know, at heavyweight, Golovkin, another brilliant, exciting fighter, Canelo's an exciting fighter also. You know, they're involved in some great fights because they take punches as well. They get hit as well. Mayweather was just very difficult. Miguel Cotto was another one, very exciting fighter. You know, many great fighters that weren't involved in many boring fights. You know, and many fighters that weren't that skilled, that had to take their licks in order to win fights. They had to take a few to get a few off. So Khan and Pacquiao definitely fall into that category. They weren't always defensively sound. They were very aggressive and attack. And at times they left themselves exposed, especially Amir Khan on the, you know, got hurt a lot of times by guys that he shouldn't have got hurt, because Manny Pacquiao had obviously had a much better punch resistance and he could take a lot more punches. But I think both those guys are unbelievable to watch, and I think most of you would agree. Most of those two guys for me were unbelievable to watch. I was entertained throughout their careers, and it's going to be good in a way when they retire that I'm not going to feel nervous every time and get the butterflies in my stomach, and I can just watch a fight just for watching it and enjoying it, rather than watching Khan and Pacquiao was like torture, in the sense that, you know, I wanted them to win so bad, and then, you know, if it did go pear-shaped, I wouldn't get to sleep for a couple of days, you know. Whereas now it looks like both their careers are on the tail end, and they've probably got 1 or 2 fights each. So after that, it's going to be more watching big fights, but not having that same feeling. But yeah, I think we all have our favorites. We all have different fighters that we like, and for different reasons as well. Sometimes you're emotionally attached to somebody because, you know, they're the same nationality as you. Sometimes you're emotionally attached to somebody because you love their fighting style. And for me, it was a bit of both. In terms of with Khan, it was obviously same nationality, British, you know, and and the style, of course, his style was very entertaining. And Pacquiao was just, for me, he was just a legend, an iconic figure. And he also another guy that stylistically was just a brilliant fighter to watch. So we all have our different reasons why we like, you know, our fighters, and we all have fighters that we don't like as much. But at the end of the day, all fighters are great in the sense that they go in the ring, they put it on the line, and you know, they give us entertainment. So, you know, massive respect to all fighters, not just the ones at top level, but even lower levels, because I've seen some scraps at lower British level, below that, even some unbelievable scraps. And some of the guys at the lower level don't really get their credit. So I think massive respect to all fighters, not just the ones at the top level, because like I said, sometimes you get to see crackerjacks at world level, and even female fighters now are bringing the pain, bringing the heat, and giving some great fights. So yeah, leave your thoughts, guys, in the comment section. Let me know who your favorite fight is and who you are attached to and who you love watching. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below, guys. And guys, remember to please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video.